Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're sort of lifting the hood on sentences. We're going to get into this really interesting linguistic idea called split-INFL and functional projections.
hmm
You ever wonder how we actually pack so much meaning, so much grammar into what seems like a simple string of words?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think about it.
That's exactly what we want to unpack today. We're drawing from the source Split INFL and functional projections, and our mission really is to show you some of the hidden architecture behind language.
Exactly. Because what you hear, the surface sentence, it rests on this much more complex structure underneath.
Yeah.
We used to talk about a single thing called INFL, but now the thinking is it's more like a series of distinct specialized layers.
Okay, so let's start there. What was this traditional idea of INFL, and why did linguists feel the need to split it up?
Well, traditionally, INFL, that's inflection,
Yeah.
was seen as the sort of central hub for grammar basics. Mostly tense, like, past versus present, and agreement, making sure the verb fits the subject.
Like he walks versus they walk.
Exactly that. But as linguistic theory developed and we looked closer, especially at different languages, it seemed like these jobs, tense and agreement, they weren't always bundled together structurally. They seemed to occupy slightly different slots in the sentence's blueprint.
Ah, okay.
So the evidence started pointing towards splitting them into separate components, or what we call functional projections.
Right, so it's less like one big department and more like specialized shops on the same street. What are some of these key projections, these grammatical shops?
That's a good analogy. So a big one is T, or tense FP.
Mm-hmm.
That's its job,
Yeah.
locating the event in time. Walked versus walks. That difference lives in T.
Okay, makes sense.
Then there's agra, or agreement P.
Yeah.
That's where that subject-verb connection happens. The S on walks for he, for instance.
Got it. Those little signals that make a huge difference. Are there others?
Oh, yeah. There's modality P, which handles things like possibility or necessity, might go, must stay, that kind of thing.
Right, the auxiliaries often signal that.
Exactly. And the list potentially goes on. Yeah.
Some
Some theories propose mood P for like indicative versus subjunctive mood, netted P for negation, putting the not in the right structural place, and even ASP for aspect, like the difference between he ate and he was eating.
Wow, okay, so it gets pretty detailed. Instead of just grammar happens here, we can say, okay, this specific grammatical job is done by this layer. How does that actually help when you're looking at, say, a really complex sentence?
It allows for a much, much more precise breakdown. Take something like she might have been sleeping.
Okay.
In this split NFL view, might would sit in the head of mod P, have could be related to aspect or tense depending on the specific theory. Been also relates to aspect or passives, and the tense marking itself is associated with T. Each bit slots into its own projection.
Ah, so those helping verbs, the auxiliaries like might, have been, they aren't just like floating around, they're actually heading up these different functional layers.
Precisely. They're often the lexical realization, the actual words, that occupy the head positions of these functional projections. They carry specific grammatical weight.
And going back to agreement, that he walks example, how does that mechanism work within this layered system?
Well, the idea is that there's a kind of relationship, a feature-checking process, between the subject, like he, and the head of the AGRP projection. They need to sort of match up their features like person and number for the sentence to be grammatical.
Right, like they need compatible security badges to get into the grammar club.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. And can a sentence have multiple layers active at the same time? It sounds like it must.
Oh, absolutely. That's fundamental. A single clause nearly always involves multiple functional projections working together.
Yeah.
Tense, agreement, maybe aspect or modality, they all contribute simultaneously to the final form and meaning.
This framework, does it also help explain why, Spanish sentence structure looks different from English, which looks different from Japanese?
Yes, very much so. Cross-linguistic variation is a key area where split NFL is useful. Languages might differ in which functional projections they actually have, or, more commonly, in the order these projections are arranged in the underlying structure. That affects word order and other grammatical properties.
Super interesting. And you mentioned adverbs earlier. How do they fit in? Do they give clues?
They can, yeah.
Yeah.
The position where certain types of adverbs naturally occur in a sentence can sometimes give us hints about where the boundaries between these different functional projections might lie. Like certain adverbs prefer to attach to, say, the tense projection, while others attach higher up or lower down.
Huh. So even adverb placement isn't totally random. It respects this underlying architecture. Okay, so wrapping this up then, the big takeaway is that this split INFL idea gives us a much more fine-grained picture of sentence structure, right? Breaking down that old INFL category into these specialized layers.
Exactly. It reveals this incredibly intricate, largely unconscious grammatical system that we all use every time we speak or understand a sentence.
Yeah, it really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? All this
Yeah.
complex machinery humming away beneath the surface, allowing for all the subtlety and flexibility we take for granted in language. And you have to wonder, what does this layered structure imply for how our brains actually do this? How do we process and build sentences so fast with all this going on? Definitely food for thought.
Mm.
Thanks for guiding us through this deep dive into linguistic structure. It's fascinating stuff.